Hey everyone, Rogue Guild here, and today I want to get my, first impressions and review of the Summit game mode that dropped alongside TU11 this past Tuesday. Are you ready? It's not that bad. That's not to say that I don't think it needs improvements, but I like it a whole lot more than I thought I would after hearing the PTS reactions and watching gameplay of it and all of that. Now, I will state up front, this is just my opinion. I know I've already read a lot of people say that they hate this mode after playing it at launch, they don't like it at all, several things wrong with it, etc, etc. This is just my opinion. I'm not right, they're not right, no one is right about it. It's all subject to how you feel about yourself, and so this is just my opinion on it. I'm going to present why I feel this way, and so let's get right into that. So to give some context, on this past Tuesday when the update released, I went all the way from floor 50, where you can start, or I guess 51, up to 100. Now, I did not beat 100, sadly, because right when we got to the Hunter fight, we had 9 minutes left before the server restarted, and we wiped once on them, and then we did not have enough time to complete the first room again, so that was really sad and unfortunate, but I have pretty much experienced all of the heroic and legendary content that the mode has to offer, which is, what most of you, I assume, care to listen about. And so to expand upon that a little bit, I've seen a lot of people say that, playing through those floors, because that's what most of us are on, they feel like it's a chore and it's just a mindless grind. And I personally didn't feel that way. It lacks purpose for sure. Like going through there's no, story elements, there's no reasoning for why we're going through these floors, but it was enough variation to keep it interesting for me. It gives you enough anticipatable challenges to keep it fresh. And while in some people's mind that might not be as good as what they were able to do with some other modes in Division 1, this gives you actual random replayability, which currently nowhere else in the Division 2 that's offered. Like, you have missions, you've got strongholds, you got the Dark Zone, but none of that offers that same level of randomness and replayability that this can, whether or not it's as good as Division 1 or not. And so I want to dive into some of the different sections of what that consists of, right? The first being the setting. As far as I can tell, going through there are 3 different types of rooms, and then there's several variations within that. That is the construction ones, obviously with the, red beams and all the wood everywhere. You've got the office types, and then you also have the mechanical or, server rooms, kind of, I just clustered those into one. But within that, there's a lot of different variations, more so than I picked up on from watching the PTS footage. Like going through from 50 to 100, sure, I recognize some of the same rooms and layouts some of the times, but there was a lot more than I was expecting. Like even though the types of rooms are the same, there's different, like in the construction ones, I really enjoyed the one where there's kind of the long L-shaped hallway, and then you've got an area down below that some ads can go to, they'll shoot up at you, and in the office ones, there's different, elevations and all that. There's definitely enough in there to keep it exciting for me, and so while I would like to see, possibly some expansion upon that, definitely the number one wish as far as setting goes would be Windows. I've stated previously I don't know how likely that is to happen, even though the devs said they are looking into it. I think the reason they weren't there in the first place is it's a lot of work to create that whole skybox around the skyscraper to flesh out all of New York as far as you could see from an actual skyscraper, 80 floors up. So I don't know if we're going to see Windows, but I think if I wanted to see one thing as far as the setting goes, it would be to have Windows more so than adding more variation, because personally, I was pleased with the amount there is currently. Obviously could be more, but yeah, I would want my focus to be on Windows. We'll see if that comes true or not. Moving on to objectives. I definitely like the amount and variation. Sure, there could be more, but I'm happy with what there is currently. I like that some are just designed to be like easier and more fun. Like one time, my group and I were on Legendary, and we just got a room where it was just 2 heavies. It was like one of the White Tusk heavies and then one Wreckers heavy for whatever reason. We just fought those 2 and we're done with it. I think it's fun that they throw in some of those, easier ones and more varied ones just to have some fun. And so that's kind of what kept it, replayable and fresh for me going through. Also, I enjoyed some of these sub variations. Like there was, obviously you have the hostage rescue is one of the main objective types you can get. But then additionally, they had one that was a drone attack, but then a few times we came in and it was a drone attack combined with the hostage rescue. So that was really interesting that they could, even between the different objectives, they could kind of meld them together to create even more variation than what there would be standardly with the, set objective types. One improvement I really do want to see for objectives, however, is some more differentiation between the objective where it's just clear the floor and you get waves of ads that come at you until they stop spawning, and objectives, because how it is currently, you can, and I mentioned this in my initial thoughts on Summit after watching the PTS video, you can just wait and clear the ad waves until they stop spawning and then go complete the objective. So actually it has no difference than a regular clear the floor wave, except you have to go and do the objective anyway. What I would really like to see is have ones where it's just clear the floor. If that's the objective, then you have waves, and once you defeat them, you're done, you move on. Then if you get an objective one, the objective persists until you clear it, and then the ads stop spawning, because that just kind of makes sense, right? This is how it should be. That way, if you're more efficient, you can go get the objective done, the ads stop spawning, and you're done with that floor right away. But if you're, maybe it's on legendary, you have a bit of a tougher time, the ads are going to keep coming, it's going to keep building up that pressure until you can push forward and complete the objective. I think that would make the whole thing a lot more fluid and make more sense, and that way there's an actual differentiation between a floor that's, clear the area and do X objective like hack the terminals. I think that just makes sense to happen, so hopefully that's something we see in TU 11.1. Now let's talk about loot and XP. I think the loot is pretty good with the control point chests, and if they implement different targeted loot, it'll be even better, like 10 times better. I really think that the amount of drops is fine. I would like to see an additional chest after the boss fight. Basically, if you haven't gone in there a ton yet, how it works, every 3 floors is where you get a checkpoint. It's not a rally point, you can't leave and come back to it, but for example, let's say you're in the 70s, so you start at 70, that's your rally point. You can come back there at any time. If you're in the lobby, you can shoot straight up to 70. But then once you're going through there, once you get to the end of 73, 76, and 79 is where your 3 checkpoints are for that set of floors, that block of 10 floors. And in the first 3, so 71 to 73, at one point you're going to hear a key drop. And if you can go and find that key, then that's going to unlock the chest at the end of the 73 floor before you get in the elevator to head to the next set of 3. And in that chest, it's basically the same as a control point. You get 4 or 5 different items. And again, if it were, selectable targeted loot, that would be awesome. That'd be a great way to farm items. However, I would like to see one additional chest after the boss fight, because currently, once you beat a boss, you get the rally floor kind of safe room. There's a stash, I believe, a vendor, and something else. They have like 2 or 3 chests in there that give you 1 or 2 items, but what I would like to see personally is have one additional ones of those big chests. Maybe once you kill the boss, you get a key, then you go in, put it in, and it gives you 6 to 8 items. I feel like that would just take it up one more notch to make the summit really stand out as that replayable thing you want to go back and do, especially again if they implement different targeted loot. As far as XP goes, however, this definitely needs a rework because it's pretty bad compared to other, sections of the game, especially considering the time commitment per floor. Like, for example, even if you're on Heroic, it's going to take you a few minutes to clear a floor, whether you get one main objective or you get 3 different rooms with, clear the ads, then do terminals, then drones, whatever. Doing one of those compared to a landmark in the DZ, there's a huge time difference. The landmark is a lot quicker, and even on normal landmarks in the Dark Zone, you're going to get over 100,000 XP, if I'm recalling correctly. It should be around there. For a regular Heroic floor on Summit with no directives, you get like 30,000 XP. What is that? That's a terrible amount of XP compared to the time commitment you put in. Even if it only takes you 5 to 7 minutes, you're going to clear a normal landmark in like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and you get triple the XP. And even once you get up to Legendary with directives, it was only like 90k per floor. So I think that definitely needs to increase to draw in more people to want to replay this mode. You have to make the XP comparable to other things in the game in order for it to be attractive on that level. Now let's talk about directives, what a lot of people have already commented on, and I agree with what most people say. I just still don't like them. I don't like that they're forced, and especially given the lackluster XP you get even on the directive floors, they really just seem purposeless other than to increase the amount of time you have to put in to get to the top. And that doesn't seem very good for the overall health of the game and how the community feels about the mode to me. I don't really know what I would like to see them replaced with other than just removed, because I get the sense that the devs want 80 and 90 to feel separate because they're both legendary, but they want 80 to be the easier one. You can go in there, do it without directives, but then they want 90 to feel a little bit harder before you get to the final, 100 floor. And I get that, but I don't think forcing directives on people is the right move, especially considering there's no real reward for doing so, right? You get more XP, but it's abysmal. It's tiny compared to what it should be, or what you would get in the open world if you do a legendary mission with 3 directives that's 75% increased XP, and that's not what it is in the summit. Or maybe it is, but the amount is already so small that it's really not worth it. So again, I don't know what they should replace the directives with. Maybe they should just remove them, let people choose their own difficulty and floors and all of that. I think that's what we might see in 11.1, but yeah, I don't like the forced directives, and so hopefully something gets changed in terms of that. And to close it out, let's talk quickly about progression, and especially on Legendary, because personally, I feel like it felt great. The Legendary NPCs in the Summit felt a lot less punishing than the Stronghold ones, but at the same time, they were still a really tough challenge. I was running it with, you'll see in the background, with a group of 3. It was myself, my friend who was using another DPS build like myself, and then our third was a tank using Foundry Bulwark, and it was a really fun challenge, personally. I mean, it took a lot of time to go through the floors, no doubt, and getting from 90 to 100 was a real challenge, which was especially more painful considering we couldn't complete 100 because of the server shutdown. But it still was, it felt like every time we cleared a floor, I felt very satisfied. Like we had fought our way through and we had really claimed that floor, you know what I mean? And especially considering they felt, I don't know what it is to make them feel less punishing than they do on the Stronghold ones. I don't know if they're tuned differently or what, but it felt more fair in a way, but still being very challenging as Legendary is, with the AI, with their damage, with everything. And so, yeah, I don't know what more I have to say on it, other than I really like that sense of progression from 80 to 100. Again, I would like to run the whole thing without directives, because I think 80 to 90 was probably my favorite. But yeah, it just felt great, so I just wanted to point that out as part of why I like the mode overall. Alright, so for my final thoughts, I think the mode has really good bones, like I concluded after watching the PTS stuff like I mentioned in that other video. However, for me it's a lot more fun in its current state than I anticipated it being. Overall, the whole thing could use more cohesiveness for sure. I think there's, again, a lack of, narrative elements, like why are we there? We get a few lines from Kelso, but that's about it. There was nothing the first time I loaded in there, so that was a bit, confusing. And, with some of the loot stuff and maybe the targeted loot, it could all come together a bit better. However, I think that's all already in the books for TU11.1, so in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy what we have, because anything they add is only going to make this mode better, in my opinion. Thanks for watching, everyone. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you can be updated every time I upload. Head down to the comments and let me know what you think about my opinions on the summit. Let me know what your own are, because I'm very curious if anyone else feels kind of in the same boat as me, where this is better than we expected, because that's honestly how I feel compared to what all the negativity that everyone threw out about it on the PTS, and even some people are now that it's live. I'm just kind of like replaying the same mode here, because personally for me it's a lot more fun than I was thinking, and I understand that some people don't like some of the things that even I pointed out in this video, but I guess it just comes down to opinion at the end of the day. And for me, I like what we got for the summit, and so I'm going to enjoy it from here on out. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day, and until the next one, guys, row gold. Out.